So winning at e-commerce SEO now and the trends to watch. And I believe that in general, we all feel this way, right? We have the filter sidebar pretty much generating traffic erosion through so many product-related queries through the customer journey, not only like necessarily like very bottom of the funnel, but we see it being triggered more and more. Deals, destination pages, AI overviews now coming to more commercially oriented queries. Google announcing also AI personalized SERPs. It really pretty much feels like this lately. Seeing some of the commercially oriented SERPs is a mix of Amazon and Reddit, right? Like pretty much Google has really become a merchant listing page with features driving also direct visibility to PDPs through the much more prominent product carousels and the product knowledge panel, highlighting also more and more experts and UGC content through the new SERP features to support the user buying process too, which it's also understandable, but realistically, not something that you will expect for many type of queries, but there's definitely there and shows the importance to invest on informational content beyond the very commercially oriented ones that online stores look to and focus to invest on. And realistically, many times lately, I'm seeing the SERPs and for queries like this one that I'm showing on screen, right? Folding bikes, and I see the position 0 at the top, then the popular products, product carousels at above the first organic search or traditional organic search position, and then all of a sudden, the best ranked POP below, which is position 1, but it's pretty much not even almost above the fold anymore, right? So what is the type of click-through rate that the best ranked organic search page can expect here, realistically, even if the thumbnail is there, rich results are there, etc. But yeah, we can expect, and I imagine that you have seen this, like click-through rate sinking for many of this top the type like most popular top head terms across many different product categories, shopping categories, right? So realistically, we have different trends here going on. On one hand, we know that Google has been leveraging their shopping graph and retail experience that they have pretty much brought much more in let's say the main search results that they usually pretty much provided through the shopping tab, and so these being much more embedded in the traditional search results. We have seen also Google enabling this much more focused deal destinations and shopping related destinations that are clickable and easily accessible through the traditional organic search results too. And funnily enough, I don't even think that this provides the best experience, and it can be much more easily improved just by personalizing better the type of deals that they show. Because if you click on the shop deals, anytime, like if you search for whatever product deals, you will be shown this little call to action about shop deals and be brought, and you will be brought to this landing page that is pretty generic, not even personalized with the type of product that you were seeing. So there's definitely that. There's a lot of room for improvement. But in any case, all of this has been facilitated by the Merchant Center integration and feeds and this product structure data that Google has been endorsing and highlighting and proposing much more and facilitating much more. We have that major e-commerce platforms like Shopify, Wix, WooCommerce, all of this have pretty much integrated with Google to make it just a few clicks away to generate the Google Merchant Center feeds, very straightforward. And also Google has announced even more personalized AI results in the shopping tabs just a couple of weeks ago. So the type of personalization and experience, the buying experience from the announcement, and even if it is not necessarily going to be in the main search tab, in the main search results, we know that Google really likes to try things there first to assess, and then this what happened also a little bit with the product carousels that they were brought later on to the main SERPs. And I when Google made this announcement, I actually started to think about, like, we know realistically what is the share of users that actually end up going to the shopping tab when searching for any product related query on Google. So I asked SimilarWeb, and they share with me some data, and they will be sharing more with me. But this gives like a good outlook that for some categories is non-trivial right now. So 18% of those who search for shirts, and 12% of those that search for coats, for example, end up clicking in the shopping tab. So non-trivial. This can vary a lot per topic and category. Cardigans 10%, jeans 6%, right? But it's something that we definitely need to pay attention. And even a bigger shift that is already there, right? Like AI overviews, when Google released them, when they were testing them. Before the official release, we could see that they were pretty much replicating in their snapshots a PLP-like experience, directly showcasing the true, like a sort of product carousels that are clickable or were clickable. You will be able to see directly the product knowledge panel and click directly and on retailers selling those particular products, and pretty much you could be brought directly to the PDP with bypassing completely the traditionally organic search results of PLPs or guides that were way below, right? This didn't happen, at least not yet. And because Google started to focus first on very informational oriented queries first, and started to trigger little by little more and more of AI overviews for more topics, more terms. And finally, a few weeks ago, I identified that Google was already showcasing AI overview snapshots for the gift related terms. And we can see here on screen, for example, so for Christmas gift for children, how initially the AI overview has a tabbing or listing type of format, but when you click on any of this, surprise, surprise, you can see the product carousels that are, again, clickable, and you can get the product knowledge panel with all of the information and average ratings and reviews about the products, and you can literally click to the PDP directly of the merchants that are being showcased there at the top, right? So yes, where is this going? This is both exciting and scary at the same time. I feel this, I hear you. And the typical question is, how do we make the most out of this? Because this is changing pretty quickly, and we can understand that this will only be released for more and more queries and product-related topics. And how do we minimize the risk also at the same time? Because we don't want to be penalized or negatively affected by all of this traffic erosion of all of these SERP features, and users getting pretty much pushed to the last steps of the customer journey. So is it really worth it for us to invest in informational content in the first place? So there's a lot that we can do for that, and criteria to take into account to avoid being left out, to maximize the opportunities nowadays, and also to keep our eyes open into what is upcoming, what we can watch out in the next updates. And I want to go through very quickly these 4 points that I believe can help you to take actionable steps into that. The first one is to maximize your PDP's optimization efforts, because realistically, if Google is going to become pretty much like the marketplace, the middleman for e-commerce, and wants to pretty much compete with Amazon or eBay, we want to double down on PDPs, which is at the end of the day where the conversion happens. Many times, unfortunately, we have overlooked them because we try to focus on PLPs because they target higher search volume type of searches, right? But PDPs is where the money is. Then we need to also facilitate Google to access and understand the product related content. It's not only the technical optimization, not only the structured data, but also like the core information, the integration, crawlability, indexability. So the base needs to be there in order to maximize the visibility of the thumbnails, rich results that don't completely rely necessarily on structured data. And growing your brand authority with informational content investment, because even if you tell me, Aleyda, if click behavior is going to PDPs, why are we even being suggested to do this? But because realistically, we are going to see how brand becomes critical in order to attract users' engagement, to bring the clicks to our own website when search results are full of other players and we are not even below them, but in the same row because of how product carousels are showcased nowadays, right? And finally, how we should start tracking and monitoring to stay ahead and identify any shifts and understand where not only the visibility is going, but the clicks are actually going, and understand well what is the type of content that is bringing the clicks, attracting the clicks, to invest accordingly. And stop investing in those zero-click searches, or not necessarily stop investing, but minimize the investment, or understand and have a good alignment in the understanding and the type of connection and alignment that we have with other areas and decision makers, to have good acknowledgement of what we can expect investing on one area, one type of topics, one type of content or the other, right? So let's start with it. First, let's acknowledge that product carousels are now shown in SERPs that previously gave top visibility to category pages and guides. So there's definitely that. There's this very obvious need right now to invest more on PDPs. We have now like double product carousels like the ones that I am showing right now. It's like literally 90% of the SERP real estate is being taken above the fold by product carousels, and there's definitely that we can argue that might not necessarily be the complete best experience for every single user, but there's definitely a trend going on. So we need to understand the shift and align with the shift, right? And this shift can be further accelerated, as I mentioned before, by AI overviews, pretty much replicating the PLP experience with the product carousels that are embedded in there. And 70% of shopping SERPs now are showing organic product listings, and this was under 20% 2 years ago. So there's definitely a clear trend here and need. So the first step is very obvious, and of course it will be bad to not to mention it, but this is something that I expect that all of you are already doing, and it's the base of everything pretty much. To start building up on the Google Merchant Center integration is a must and easily automated thanks to shopping platform. If for some reason you haven't been able to do it because of the type of platform that you're using, you can use third-party solutions like, for example, WordLift Product Knowledge Graph Builder. They don't only allow you to integrate with the Merchant Center, but also create the structured data and generate the structured data to pretty much build a full knowledge graph for your website. So that's definitely an additional advantage. And you should definitely monitor your approval and complete specification to make it comprehensive and make the most out of every single available property that you can specify. And something that we shouldn't necessarily be worried about, but I see a lot of conversations about it still, is the auto tagging of the Merchant Center, which adds this SRS LTID parameter, appends the parameter in search results, and it pretty much doesn't make it very clean, let's say, to not only track the URLs, but also realistically, it makes you wonder, is like, oh, are like literally like all of my URLs all of like adding this sort of additional parameters, and my users are not going to the actual canonical indexable URL version, or what happens if they link to it at the end of the day. And so it is a wasted opportunity to get links to my original meant to be indexed URL. And what happens? Does Google really crawls these URLs or try to index them? So John Mueller in the past has clarified that this is pretty much caused by merchant-centered auto-tagging, that we shouldn't worry about it, etc., etc. I have to say something. I have seen those URLs getting into my Google Search Console page indexing reports and being shown, as you can see pretty much in the screenshot that I'm showing on my screen, as those of these URLs that, well, are reported to be or to have been tried to be getting indexed by Google or have been crawled by Google, but they have been found to have an alternate page with a proper canonical tag, because I always ensure to canonicalize my PDPs to the right meant to be indexed URL. So I will highly advise, independently of like no worries about it, this shouldn't be crawlable or indexable, etc., to always make sure to canonicalize your PDPs URLs so they go to the meant to be original indexable URL, just in case, because we can see this URLs being triggered in our Google Search Console indexing reports. So it, just in case, like to cover our backs for sure. And then it's also a must to prioritize all of the product structure data implementation with the latest supported properties. This is particularly important, and I highlight this a lot for smaller retailers and online stores. Whenever I am asked, like, what can we do to stay ahead and to compete with this mammoth or huge players that are in our sector, realistically, a lot of these players, it's true that they have all of the popularity in the world, all of the authority in the world, but usually they're very slow to implement this type of things. Everything that requires approval, alignment between areas, stakeholders, buy-in, internal buy-in, etc. It takes ages for them, and it might be very straightforward for you because you're your own decision maker, or you have a direct influence with the decision maker. It doesn't need to go through so much bureaucracy like in their case. So make the most and go and take a look at all of the search updates that Google has been announcing. A lot of them, for example, product variants or return policy precedents, etc., to make the most out of these opportunities to stay ahead and show the information that the bigger players cannot. So that can be the opportunity to be showcased in the cases that they cannot yet, right? And so be proactive and implement. So for example, the first thing is, especially, and this is about supply and demand at the end of the day, if you identify that there are a lot of searches for the different product variants of your products, so for example, the colors, the sizes, and you're canonicalizing everything to potentially the main product because you're too scared of content duplication issues or cannibalization issues, identify for which you have more demand, more search volume, identify which of those variants you can differentiate further to highlight different thumbnails, highlight different images, differentiate the description further, add the product ID, and so differentiate the experience to make it actually meaningful for the users to land in one page or another. So they can stand by themselves. They can be independently indexable. You can specify the variant product structure data accordingly and make the most out of it. And you can start little by little testing this to assess if it's worthy, if it's bringing additional traffic, what it means in terms of engagement to land directly into the correct relevant variant for the user to convert right away. This should have many different implications beyond just ranking with this additional URL or getting more URLs indexed and ranked for sure. And then, of course, specify product ratings, pros and cons, shipping availability, price drop, returns. It is critical to stay up to date and have literally to align the state of your inventory with the structured data that you generate. And many of this, by the way, many of these properties, they won't trigger errors when validating, but they might be just warnings, and you might overlook that and think, oh, it's all okay, but not realistically. That can be the opportunity to enhance your appearance and to be showcased in certain scenarios instead of your competitors, right? So monitor the improved appearance report from the product and merchant certain listing in the Google Search Console. I highly recommend also, if you realistically, many times you see like what's going on here. Many times I have seen that, unfortunately, because of how, and I'm going to talk about this in a bit, how you generate structured data, you potentially over rely on certain plugins that are not up to date, or don't refresh right away after the inventory is changed and the information is changed, and it makes it very painful to troubleshoot, right? So the best way that I have seen to address this is to actually leverage the Google Search Console share option to give it directly to the development team, and so they can directly see what is going on. And that many times that might be, for example, like an issue like between a bridge of time, which the information is not updated right away, and they want to take a direct look into that. And just being a bottleneck there, like trying to share the data or the code in a different way might not solve it. So it's better to actually make the most out of this feature to troubleshoot it. And also you can use for example, sidebar structured data tool for troubleshooting is really useful, because they don't only differentiate well the structured data validation for search features, the schema, and also showcasing the entities and the reliance and the connections between one or the other. And it makes it very easy to understand the implications and pretty much a hierarchy of how they work, and to identify and assess very quickly if something is actually very meaningful, or if it is something that you can actually overlook or not, right? And of course, verify which are the products or features shown in SERPs but not linking to your website yet, that rely on the structured data that you're already generating, or that you are not. So there's an opportunity for you to do that. I love that more and more players, like, for example, I use advanced web ranking as a rank tracker, but even like SEMrush or Ahrefs, like many players are now supporting more all of these different sort of features that are triggered for product-oriented SERPs. So, for example, the explore brands or the buying guides, related products, the single image thumbnails, multi-image thumbnail, and they differentiate it so you can understand better, like which are the opportunities and what you can do about them. And potentially something even more important, right? Understand which are those that are displayable default, pushing your current top result further in the SERP, so you can prioritize accordingly. What I was showing before. I don't know if I should put so much effort in this product line here, trying to optimize my PLPs if all of the above the fold is being pretty much taken by product carousel. So realistically, I better focus my efforts on the PDPs because they are literally showcased much more prominently for this sort of topics and query patterns and product lines. And your money will be better spent and will have a much higher impact in that area and that type of content there. So you need to think along these terms and pay attention of where the visibility is going, in not beyond the position, right? Like which are the search features, what is the visibility and the pixel position, and which are those search features that are bringing your PLPs below of where it can realistically get any meaningful clicks, to allocate your efforts accordingly and focus your process accordingly, right? And it's like to not only prioritize accordingly in terms of structured data, right? But what about your key content, those elements that actually play a very important role also in the visibility in SERPs, because we know that Google doesn't only rely on structured data, but in the actual indexability and relevance of that content. So, for example, here in this example, we can see how a very prominent brand is pretty much ranked in the top position just to not showcase any rich result. And of course, we can see how this SERP is full of other players below with rich results and many search features that realistically will get much more attention and visibility and will tend to get much more click-through rate too. Unfortunately, many images or reviews can end up being over-relying on client-side rendered JavaScript, making it challenging for Google to index. And 90% of the cases, this is an issue of whether over-relying on client-side rendered JavaScript that takes ages to load, that is very difficult for Google to access the images, and then the images being very low quality and not well optimized, or being blocked for the Google bot, or the JavaScript that also generate the image potentially even loading fast for the user, but being blocked for the Google bot. So all of these sort of like combinations of configurations that of reliance on client-side rendered JavaScript, I highly recommend to avoid them. Go and take a look and your PDPs, PLPs, disable the JavaScript on the browser to take a look at how much do you rely on them on those, and ensure that the key products areas like the reviews, images, structured data is there and doesn't rely on even on lazy loading type of configuration to be showcased, because Google won't be able to index it when they call the page realistically, right? Even Google warns about this. They, not so long ago, a few months back, they actually added this warning in the structured data generation about client-side rendered JavaScript, saying, hey, be aware that dynamically generated markup can make shopping calls less frequent and less reliable, which can be an issue for fast-changing content like product availability and price, right? So be aware of this. It's important that we avoid these issues if we can. This is what happens when your product reviews structured data stops over relying on client-side rendered JavaScript, and some of this was also being lazy loaded, unfortunately. So the before and after it was started to generate it with server-side render content directly in the raw HTML. Also the structured data, and the before and after was very meaningful. And it was like going from the night to the day in terms of the click-through rate and the visibility that these pages started to get in the already well-ranked SERPs, but in terms of click-through rate, they were not performing well at all, right? So validate the key elements generating, or that could generate, especially these rich results, or that can be game-changing in terms of inclusions on any sort of features that are meaningful in the search that you're targeting, or that where you want to be showcased. For example, images or reviews. I love how, again, sidebar, they allow you to troubleshoot very easily for any single page. Of course, you can do this in bulk by crawling the website, but they also have the single page validation, the single page analysis, and in which they allow you to see the response versus render of the DOM, the links, the images, the text, the HTML, every single element independently. So it makes it very easy to understand what is going on and what is being showcased or not, what is relying on JavaScript and not, very quickly without having to go through the code if you don't want. For thumbnails, it's not only about your product images indexability, but about the size and relevant descriptions too. Remember that image optimization is only becoming also more important thanks to Google Lens. A couple of weeks back, again, Google made the AI overviews, additional AI overviews announcement for many more countries. And somewhere in there, a little bit buried, but in there was this additional announcement of Google Lens, pretty much supporting many more features. And many of these features have to do with a clickable shopping experience through the images, pretty much. Like, oh, do you want this product? Just take a photo or take a video, or take a video while explaining what you want from the product, and search for it directly through your camera, right? So it's fundamental to make sure that our products images are very well optimized, that these are crawlable, that you use image formats that are supported by Google, you make the most out of the image XML sitemaps, your images are responsive, they have a descriptive alt text, file name, high quality, good resolutions, optimized for speed, and integrate the relevant structured data. And you should monitor also not only the snapshot of the rich results, whether triggered by structured data or not, also by content, but also at an ongoing basis. I highly recommend you to do a review at least monthly, right, of what is going on. For which queries now, like there's a multi-image thumbnail being shown, or if your PLPs that used to show multi-image thumbnail are now showing like just a single thumbnail or not a thumbnail at all of a sudden there is a product knowledge panel being showcased for this query, and it doesn't make that much sense anymore to try to continue pushing your PLPs for these queries, but you need to focus instead on your PDPs information, including your images and descriptions and so on. So it's fundamental to do this, and also check those products or features triggered by competitors that your site is not, and prioritize accordingly. I love that, for example, again, I use advanced ranking, but most of the rank trackers, I know that Nozzle.io does this a lot too. Go very granular into the SERP features and gives you a benchmark versus all the top players, also targeting the same queries to understand if you are being left out, which are those very prominent SERP features that they are leveraging and you're not, right? And beyond visibility, it's also about establishing your brand authority and helping your customers' decision-making in the buying journey, right? Like I asked and I interviewed about this Danny Sullivan from Google a month ago, and they directly share in the interview that I published here that they want to showcase real brands with real expertise and experience in SERPs. If there's a middleman, they will be the middleman. They don't want middlemen without a name or with a real expertise in SERPs. They want online source that provide real products with real experience and real expertise about the product. So, and I have to say something too, in today's SERPs, full of all of these features, creating a brand that users recognize is click for trust and get the actual traffic, right? Because it's not about being showcased in the first position, second, third, and we know that people are lazy and they are not going to click on the fifth position, but in the top 3, and that's it. No, now the SERPs are the ones that I'm showing on my screen, right? So everything is very blended. You're showcased in the same row with the pretty much same visibility than for all players. Who's your potential customer going to click? The ones that they already recognize, the ones that they already trust, the ones that they have already heard of in one way or another, right? So it's fundamental to establish this recognition. And I have to say that many more commercial product queries are also less transactional, more blended in the SERPs. Many more of these are showcasing expert reviews, UGC, and this is important because the typical blockage that I get, an argument that I get from clients, shopping focused clients, is like, oh, I don't want to invest in non-money making content, right? I want to invest only on very commercially oriented content, but we need to show them this. It's very blended nowadays. It's not black and white. And also with the bigger prominence and visibility of AI overviews for more shopping related or commercially oriented content, or very relevant, even branded informational content that will help the user to get a better experience or shopping experience with you and retain that user and upsell or cross-sell to that user to create this content. So, for example, it was very interesting for me to see, and when I took a look at like which are the top retailers presence in AI overviews right now. So I went and I actually really like the integration that Href has with AI overviews because it's very granular and they actually tell you which are the particular URLs that are being included for any query and how to measure for a dress shirt. And pretty much this is a SERP where Macy's.com, a major retailer in the US, is being included, but they are not being actually featured in those AI overviews where other smaller players are, because they're actually investing in good informational content, helping the user to sort out the measurement of address search, right? And can you guess which is the third site with the biggest visibility for the top jeans queries? And I'm not talking about the best jeans or the informational queries for jeans, but the top jeans overall. The third one is Reddit. After Amazon, after Levi's, shopping oriented, it's Reddit. Above Nordstrom, above Macy's, above Walmart. So there's a clear signal here, and not only happening for non-branded queries, but also for branded ones. Nike, top terms for Nike. Reddit is the sixth player here, ranking for the top Nike terms in US SERPs, right? So it's critical to understand what Google is telling you with all of these shifts. Why are they showcasing much more informational players and UGC content? It's not because they have an agreement with them only, right? No, it's because they understand that users want this information, and you can take a double look at it with tools like SimilarWeb that allows you to take a look at which are the top rank players on any SERPs or group of SERPs for any topic that are getting most of the clicks. So I love how SimilarWeb goes beyond just position data, but they actually tells you like clicks data, traffic information. So here I did this for air fryers top terms, and we can see that for the air fryers top terms, the player that gets more clicks are Reddit, then YouTube, then skinnytaste.com, feels a good photo, more like, yeah, the guides, and then we also have retailers a little bit up below. But why? Because yes, there's definitely an intent there of users of they need more of this information for the decision making journey before buying anything, right? And you can actually go and take a look again in the SimilarWeb reports. I love how they have drop-down menu in which you can select the type of pages that are ranking for those top queries that you're accessing with the keyword list or keyword groups that you create. And you can see the nature, if these are content publishing websites, or if these are more commercially focused websites, and for which queries they are ranking for the group that you're analyzing. So you can identify which are realistically a little bit more worthy for you to spend or start investing more your resources to prioritize more information-oriented content. I understand that this needs to start little by little, especially at the beginning, right? And then you can use tools like Keyword Insights for topic clusterings to assess the potential of targeting them for your websites, because this particular tool will also tell you the opportunity, the search opportunity based on your current rankings for them, and what is the type of content and the intent that is winning for this sort of queries that you're accessing, right? If well targeted, this is the content that will allow you to establish topic authority, attract backlinks also spontaneously from users to engage better, as well as facilitating sales when correctly focused, as well integrating referring to your product listings, right? I love, for example, how REI does this in their PLPs. A lot of websites out there, they have their blog or the guides pretty much isolated in the website organization, right? They are completely independent with a completely different design. No, they actually integrate that in their internal structure, and they have a tab of expert advice along with their PLPs. So it's not an afterthought. It's not a big chunk of content or text below their PLPs, below the products, because they're afraid of losing conversion because of it. No, they have done it very well. And it actually makes sense, for example, when trying to showcase how they are actual experts in the different activities and products that they sell. So, for example, like camping 101 or skiing guides for newcomers, right? They have expert advice for that. And these, of course, guides and advice, eventually, when it is meaningful and relevant to do so, they will refer to the actual products that they sell on the website that can help with that activity, right? So a good integration will only help to better sell, to better refer to your actual products in a meaningful way. And of course, you can also leverage the content to enrich your PDPs with expert and UGC insights that will only help when making a decision of one product or another, or if they actually should trust you to buy these particular products, right? All of this will allow you to run better for more commercial queries too, while also supporting conversion better. And we can get inspiration in this really great study that Systrix does about well-performing retail players, and many of these players are not even retail because, of course, review guys still do a lot of this visibility because they actually invest in informational content, unlike many retailers, unfortunately. And hopefully, this will change soon after you all watching this presentation, of course. And if you think that this is all too much and you say, okay, Aleyda, you have gone through a lot, don't worry, here are a few ways to make it happen, a few resources to start wrapping up. You can create benchmarks of PDPs, PLPs, guides, type of content to assess the existing gap versus your competitors, prioritize accordingly, and gain support decision makers and stakeholders, especially non-technical ones. This is how you will be able to get their support and move the needle, right? Like showing, look, our competitors are already doing it. They have much better this or that than us. They are already stealing our cheese, the SERP cheese, the visibility cheese. And we are not yet, right? Unfortunately, this is how we'll make things happen. Or these big players in this other sector, they're already in a sector that can be easily extrapolated to yours. You can also use the e-commerce product page optimization checklist to avoid missing anything out when optimizing them. I created also a GPT validator to facilitate the automation of this analysis and validation. And I highly recommend you to go up your positions and monitor SERP features and fix a visibility shift to keep up with the click-through rate changes, to know where the clicks are actually going, to stop spending on autopilot on certain type of pages that potentially even still give you the position that you expect, but not the visibility anymore, and not the type of behavior that the user have of what Google is right now given much more prominence in SERPs, right? And aligned to this, start monitoring SERPs clicks behavior to focus on the queries that bring actual traffic and create content that is aligned to what is being shown much more prominently. SimilarWeb, they give you the information regarding the share of zero clicks for any query and group of queries that you want to analyze. So you can assess, okay, maybe the search volume is higher, but the 70% or 60% of all of the searches end up becoming zero clicks. Why you don't better end up spending on another group of topics or another product line that potentially is just 20% lower in search volume, but actually has a much higher rate of clicks, right? Much more content end up getting clicks from users when searching. And what type of content is getting most of the clicks, right? This type of analysis and this source will help you to make this decision. So you can prioritize accordingly, and you can make this ROI positive, because at the end of the day, of course, you don't want to be throwing money on resources in a little bit everything and seeing what's sticking and what not, right? That is not the focus here, right? So it's an alignment of all of these areas that will give the best search experience when going through your buying journey, that will help you win, that will make Google to identify you as the leader in your sector, the ones that provide the best experience in all of these ways that actually move the needle for your targeted topics and queries. So maximize your PDPs, facilitate Google access and understanding of your product-related content, grow your brand authority with informational content investment to beyond commercial one, and track your SERP features, pixels, click shifts over time to understand where the click behavior, what the user is actually clicking, where they are buying, where they are going, so you can shift accordingly too and make the most out of your efforts, right? Remember that it's all about a scalable, consistent revenue growth and a positive SEO ROI at the end of the day. And as long as this is positive, well, if it is a lot of work. It's good. It's good. This is how we keep up our work, and why not anybody can do this at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's also about the ROI. And hope that with all of this, you're able to change the narrative. You're able to find more results consistently and in a scalable way, not only for today, but also for the future. Thank you very much. I hope that you have liked the presentation, that I was able to showcase some new insights, and well, looking forward to hear any thoughts, any questions, in case you have any, or follow up over social too, in case there's no time. More than happy to do that too, and expect the publication of the presentation. I will do it right away.